welcome in today. How are you? How are you holding up?
I mean, I don't know. I've been kind of reflecting on my own sort of disposability in this kind of new political landscape. There's just this feeling of being kind of, I guess, as a queer person, I'm more or less an expendable asset. Constantly being sold out by politicians and capitalists, and
Well, and also I imagine with the collapse of essential labor, there's the attempt to reform an expendable class now that those damn DoorDash employees think they're they're hot fucking shit.
They think they're so important, driving in their little Teslas, delivering all their food. It's been, I don't know, it's been an interesting time. I guess just thinking a lot about where we are and how we got here. I'm getting real upset about it.
Where are we going?
Where are we going? What does the future hold for us in this situation that we're in?
What if we do a little thought experiment here? So I want you to imagine the far off future of 2030, 2034. What kind of technology do we have? What kind of rights do we have? What is as we hurtle towards climate catastrophe, and many other catastrophes.
Yeah.
Where do you see us? Where do you see the world? And also pretend I said 2054, not 2034. Because I misremembered my thought experiment.
Oh, yes, I see. Well, maybe for the purposes of this thought experiment, we can reference some existing material. Par exemple, Mickey 17.
I was gonna go with the host.
We're gonna have
weird little guys coming out of the water, like in the movie The Host.
Yeah, there's gonna be freaky alien fucked up fish guys.
Maybe freaky alien fucked up fish guys. Everyone was worried about the gay frogs. They weren't worried about the gay guy that eats you. And I ain't talking the German cannibal.
Hey.
Nah, I'm just playing. We're talking Mickey 17.
Mickey 17.
A film that, like the capitalist world we live in, is made up of the composite parts of other things in the past.
Yeah, so we can kind of shoot the shit about that, I suppose. It's Mickey 17. Well, first off, how did you feel about Mickey 17 as a whole?
It's fine. It's it's so weird because if it wasn't Bong Joon-ho, I think it would just have been released on Netflix and no one would be talking about it.
Yeah.
And then, maybe like in a few years or whatever, people would be like, oh man, this movie was completely slept on. It got buried into the Netflix slop. But it wasn't. It was released in a theater where you could pay up to $30 to go see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought Bong Joon-ho is always pretty on the nose, but I feel like this has a lot in common with his other big sci-fi satire film, Snowpiercer, where sometimes it's maybe a little too on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. The good.
Mm-hmm.
I will always watch a movie that gives me like 2 hours of Robert Pattinson being a tiny little rat man. This gives us 2 Robert Pattinsons.
Yes. 2 shades of just like horrible little rat that just, scurries around and is conniving.
But I kind of feel like he carries a lot of the film, and that a lot of the actors kind of phone it in.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
I mean, it is a character piece, ultimately, I guess, so that's, like, fine, but it really, like, I don't know. I mean, okay. An example I would use is Toni Collette is kind of just doing, like, Toni Collette.
Yeah, she's
just doing Toni Collette.
Yeah, she's not she's not really doing anything super out there with her performance. Yeah, Okja's interesting because it actually is a Netflix movie. And like that almost feels like a better place for Bong Joon-ho when he makes American films. Like, even Snowpiercer, which I happen to love, is like this kind of bizarre sort of out there thing that's like hard to get into if you're like a contemporary mainstream movie watcher or whatever. Not to say that it's like, some indie darling thing that's like hard to understand. It's just stylistically weird.
Oh, okay. No, I see what you mean. It's like accessible spec fic.
Yes. For me, the good that I will say about Mickey 17 is like, yeah, it's focused on the characters, and the characters are in fits and starts like really interesting and compelling. And they have a lot of kind of dynamic things going on with them. I really liked Steven Yeun's character a lot.
Yeah, he was. I will say he did turn in a pretty strong performance for a character who like kind of disappears whenever he's not like plot relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like he's well written. He's kind of a shit in the way that a lot of the characters are shit. But yeah, I mean, like, that's what stands out to me, I suppose, in a positive light. And it's well production designed. It's like well put together as a film. It's like it's tight and it's sound. The issues that arise
before you get to that, I will say to the point of the design. I do appreciate when a film has future fashion that looks like clothes people would actually wear.
Right, yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I also love a silly little outfit, like Fifth Element. But it is also cool when you see a film and you realize that it's like, oh yeah, I guess it would make sense that this, like, quasi-fascist space colony would be kind of doing a, like, pseudo-World War inspired, like, get-up for a bunch of the characters, but is, like, still pretty clearly, like, modern or, like, futuristic clothes.
Right. Yeah, I definitely, I liked the costume design. For me, it's kind of in between, like, stylized weirdness and utilitarian, usefulness, I suppose. I also really love the pigeon fursuit. That's hanging out throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah, the mascot for the dove. What is it called? It's like the dove of freedom or something.
Something like that.
It's got some really goofy ass name.
Yeah.
That's very American quiche.
Yes. But all right. Did I like the movie? Did I like the Bong Joon-ho movie? The movie by my favorite director, Bong Joon-ho. I kind of didn't. Or rather, I don't know, like, it's not a bad movie. It entertained me, but I was really disappointed because, like, a major thing is I definitely felt like this was kind of a tasting platter of aesthetics and things he's already done. Like, the giant alien monsters feel exactly like Okja, although their stilted kind of language was amusing, I suppose. But they also, I saw someone mention that they kind of are reminiscent of Nausicaa, the Ghibli movie, and I kind of felt that. But, you know, referential in a way that I'm like not giving slack to necessarily or whatever. And yeah, I don't know, like the themes felt like a rehash, the sort of humor felt like a rehash. It just didn't feel like the new Bong Joon-ho movie to me. It just felt, you know, it felt done before.
That's kind of why I said it felt very like Netflix, like a very Netflix film.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, it's kind of like when we talked about The Killer, where it's like, it's a Fincher film. You can tell it's a David Fincher film. Is it worth seeing? Do you got an afternoon to kill? Or like a better example being like Soderbergh's Kimi, which I actually don't think was in it. I think that got a theater release. But that was the same thing, where it's like, it's a Soderbergh film. Is it worth seeing? You got an afternoon? They're very like afternoon movies where it's like you can have fun with them, but I don't see them sparking the same passion, I guess, in a viewer. And I mean, there are going to still be some. I went and saw it with a friend of mine who wanted to go see it again because she really enjoyed it. So I'm not saying that there aren't people who are going to love it, but it doesn't feel like it has that same, like his other films where it's like you tell someone about it and they're like, oh, I haven't seen it. And you go, oh my God, you haven't seen it. Let's watch it right now.
Yeah. And that's
so totally fine for a movie, but like for a Bong Joon-ho film, especially one with such a like fun concept, that hurts.
Yeah. And I mean, like, this is a premise that I've always been interested in terms of just like, oh, like space travel and cloning and like how, you know, different types of work in the sort of sci-fi future are going to be kind of increasingly dangerous, and how space travel itself is so long that like it takes like several lifetimes to get from like one planet to another or whatever. Like that stuff is cool. It should be so much cooler than it is. And for as much as I like the aspects of it that are satire, it just lacks some sort of special punch that his movies usually have. And you know, a cohesive sort of statement, I guess I would say, is kind of lacking here.
Yeah, I feel like part of the issue is that, and there's a big red hat in the film that we're not talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like part of the problem is that bolted onto this very like app culture critique, the critique of like disposable, expendable labor, is also a really, really on the nose like Trump satire. Yeah. And I don't think you can't weave those in together really well, but that kind of feels like where that tension is coming from, and where that lack of a through line is coming from, is there doesn't feel like a direct connection really between the two.
Yeah. So the Trump stuff. We have Kenneth Marshall, who is, he's Trump. I mean,
it's just Mark Ruffalo doing a Trump. It's for a bit in the film, I was like, okay, he's doing a Trump impression. But I'm like, okay, you can kind of, like, it doesn't have to be a one-to-one to Trump. Trump is kind of the obvious arrival of American politics. This still works. Mm-hmm. But then they also have his fans who have a big red hat.
Yeah.
That says the one and only on it, in the exact same font as Make America Great. And it's like, again, not subtle, doesn't have to be, but is kind of like when you do like a satire film where the characters are like Nazi analogs and you just give them an armband with like an angular symbol on it, and it's like, okay, they're Nazis. Like, there's not, like, it's just a one-to-one. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, it's crazy that they kind of like deny those associations when it's like so obvious. And like,
do they deny that it's supposed to be a Trump character?
I remember, I believe I read somewhere that like Bong Joon-ho was just like, yeah, it's not really specifically meant to be Trump, which is such a cop out, because it is. It is.
The most it's not Trump thing you could point to is that it does the like the woman who is actually kind of in control thing of Toni Collette's character, which is like not a Trump thing. Like, Trump's wives don't have any power. His wives are just status objects.
Yeah.
So to an extent you could like point to that, but it's like, okay, but then why do you just have MAGA hats in? Like, that's what they are. They're MAGA hats. It's the same fucking shade of red.
Right. Yeah, it's lazy satire, and it's frustrating, because it's like, I understand the impulse and the want to kind of respond and react to the moment, but then you have a line where that talks about how, like, the character failed his second election, which did not happen in real life. It turns out that you have to take fascism a little bit seriously, even if it is run by fucking idiots.
I guess not to be fair, but I guess the film kind of still works because they say he lost 2 elections and now he's doing the space colony thing. So you could interpret that as like, much like how Trump lost 2020, he came back with a different way to take power, and this ship is the metaphor for taking power because he is controlling a section of America using a smaller force of people this time rather than actually trying to get everyone on board. And, I mean, Trump did kind of like repeatedly tease that if he lost the election, he would have just done another coup.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely bullshit insanity to be like, it's not Trump. Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy to say that. Totally crazy.
He's doing a Trump impression the whole film.
It's obviously a Trump impersonation. Could not be anything other than a Trump impersonation. It's like not even just a Trump impersonation. It's like an impersonation of someone doing a Trump impersonation. Like, it's like that was the like level of removed, was it was like, oh, it can't just be a Trump impersonation. So they're like, we'll just do it as if a guy is doing a Trump impersonation, and it kind of goes off the rails. It's very SNL. It's an SNL performance. it just feels like a very sort of scattered film. Like it feels like it wanted to do quite a lot. I don't know quite what and how much to blame on the original Mickey 7 novel by Edward Ashton. I have not read it, so I don't know.
And it is from 2022, so it feels pretty like probably was informed by a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just gonna say it. We gotta stop and 3 years? That's not enough time. You gotta let books sit. Let them sit for a little bit before you fucking... 5 years minimum. That's all I'm asking. 5 years minimum.
Yeah, they really jumped on this one really quickly. I hadn't even heard of Mickey 7 before. It wasn't even like a New York Times bestseller situation, to my understanding. It's,
Yeah. Do you want to know how much they jumped on this? So the book was released February 15th, 2022. The film adaptation was announced January 2022. The book wasn't even out.
That's so annoying. I'm sorry. That's fucked up. That's bizarre.
It's... What? What are you doing? Like, why even fucking... Just don't release the book. Just, it's a screenplay now. Okay, like what do you want? What are you doing? What is this rollout? Like,
it's very like coordinated. It's very like McDonald's toy to have the movie rights sold before the book's even out. That's fucking nuts.
He wrote Bong Joon-ho wrote the screen. So his claim about it not being Trump is that he wrote the screenplay in 2021.
Oh my god.
The book wasn't even finished. He just wrote it. He adapted it from like a manuscript of the book that was going around.
I don't get it.
I do love this. I do like this little detail though that Robert Pattinson kind of like mentally based the characters on Ren and Stimpy. Like that's why they have slightly different voices. But that when he initially did it, he pitched it as Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O. And Bong Joon-ho was like, you can't do a Steve-O impression. I'm sorry.
Bong told him not to do the Steve-O impression is my favorite sentence in any Wikipedia article.
Great line. Just incredible line. Bong Joon-ho is like, do not do the Steve-O impression. Honestly, good call. Great call. I think Ren and Stimpy, I can see it very clearly in those two characters. And I think it was the right choice.
He also apparently was inspired by Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber, which is another inspired choice.
He's so right. Okay, I will say a benefit to the film and Bong Joon-ho's adaptation of it is that I do really appreciate like doing this kind of the noble worker film and having the guy actually just be like a dumb guy who does shit jobs. Like it's not like it's not like this misunderstood genius working in this poor unskilled labor. It's like no, he is unskilled.
Yeah,
he is unskilled, but he still deserves like dignity. And I like that. I like that the film isn't trying to make an argument about like, you know, this idea of like, well, we should treat workers better because what if one of them is actually like, you know, like a genius?
Yeah.
Like, what if they're not? What if they're just an idiot?
What if they suck and they're horrible and they, you know?
What if they're on the right? What if they actually just need money quick? Like, how is that not just a totally valid reason to hire a guy and treat him with basic dignity? Is that he needs money now.
You should be allowed to go into a job interview and just be like, I'm gonna die, give me money. And then they say, oh, that's fair.
Why do you want this job? You're hiring.
Because you have a fucking "you're hiring" sign in the window, and I want money.
Because you came up on Indeed when I searched by zip code. Like, what? What do
you want me to say? I mean, like, that's, that's the strong point of the film is Bong Joon-ho's, like, strong moral compass in terms of workers' rights. Now, to that end, the film is very, like, color by numbers in terms of just, like, oh, it's a happy ending kind of movie. There's not a lot that's really sacrificed. I mean, like, that's not necessarily true. One of the Mickeys kills himself while Luigi Mangione-ing the Trump figure.
And it's made clear that it's a permanent death, because since there's two of them, the first one to die is not going to be replaced. Is basically the concept.
Right. Yeah.
Basically, at the exact point at which there's two of them, two Mickeys split off, and so one of them. There's a lot of reasons why, technically, in the film, they could theoretically, at one point, he proposes this idea of them trading off deaths, and that would technically encourage a continuation. But with the way let's call it technology of the film works, the concept is that one of them is going to die, and that one's memories are not going to be backed up, so that one's existence ends permanently, because that one is not waking up. Oddly enough, really similar concept in the video game Soma.
That's true, actually.
Which, spoilers, explores this to a much to a much darker ending. Which, absolute spoilers for Soma. Skip ahead to, 30 seconds. Absolutely love a game that is just, like, makes you feel like there might be two endings, and it's like, nope. Nope, you lost the coin flip forever. Bye. You're never going to see the good thing that you were working towards. That's someone else who gets to see it.
Damn.
Good game. I like that game a
lot. Soma. Check out Soma. It's on computer.
It's on the computer. It's probably compatible with a Steam Deck. I don't know if it was on any consoles.
I don't remember.
It's like 100 years old at this point. In video game development sense, it's 100 years old.
That game came out in another lifetime. That game's from when I was a baby.
That game is older than, like, most voters. That game is older than Joe Biden. Joe Biden played that game when it came out, and he was 17. Mickey 17, that is.
Whoa!
Let's zero in. I don't know if it's because she was bad in her role, or if it was just badly written. I did not like the guard character.
The guard character.
His wife, his girlfriend.
Oh.
I'm blanking on her name. Nasha.
Yeah, Nasha. I liked her. I was fine with her.
Okay, I take that back. The scene when they do acid or space acid, and she's like, immediately just like, I'm gonna fuck two of my boyfriend at the same time.
That was awesome.
That scene ruled. Everything from, like, that scene to, like, her and the other guard, and the guard's just like, okay, well, I'll take the other one. And she's like, no, that's not just like immediately, like, pissed off at her, and is like, I'm gonna kick your ass. All of that was great. I felt like she was just, like, completely underwritten beside. Okay, so then I that narrows it down for me. I think she was just underwritten outside of that. I think Naomi did a great job. Aki did a great job because her performance in that scene is great. But, like, I can't think of anything she really does in, like, the rest of the film.
Yeah, all I can remember is her kind of contributions to the end, where she's, like, very she's made to like bite down on the rope in this very sadistic fashion to
and he references a porn drawing they did 4 years ago and she remembers it.
Oh yeah, that was funny. This is the first time a Bong Joon-ho movie has like talked about sex as explicitly as this, which I think is very, very funny. And they're like weird Kama Sutra stick figure drawings that they animate on an iPad together.
I do love that one of them is just like bring the baby, and it appears to just be like her carrying, like the concept is this sex position is you carrying me as if I was a baby. Fascinating
stuff, psychological even. But yeah, that stuff, I mean, like, the movie has a lot of panache, it has a lot of personality, and I don't besmirch it for that. But just something about the execution and how everything comes together. It like, I don't know. It's not up to my usual standards for a director that I have extremely high standards for now. Ever since he made basically the perfect movie. Why couldn't he just make a perfect movie again, Jay?
I mean, he's made a couple.
He's made a few.
And even some of his like weaker ones, like Mother is, I think Mother is like a great thriller.
It's fantastic. It's like one of my favorite movies. And it's one of his most like K-drama TV show things that he's made, but it's so fucking good. And I wish I felt the same way about Mickey 17. Bleh.
It feels bloated. It feels like it needs a little bit of like trimming. We didn't talk about the Starship Troopers, the bugs.
Oh yeah.
Very funny to me that it's just like it feels a little bit like Bong Joon-ho being like, oh, okay, fine. You're like, oh, Starship Troopers, but the bugs are evil. And goes, fine, what if they could fucking talk? What do you think now?
What if they can say stuff? What if they talk about explode your head?
I did like the gag at the very end of reveal of like the film also using audience expectations about this stuff against them, where it's like, oh, there's gonna be something they don't know about the bugs. Oh my god, it makes sense. And then it's just like, oh no, that was just a lie. Like that was just us being like, oh, they just assume that we're like a war species, so let's just pretend that like we have the ability to like blow their heads up if they piss us off.
There's a lot of like weird isms of this movie, like the obsession with sauce as a like signifier for like social progress or society or whatever. Like the way that they're like trying to harvest the creepers for this sauce that they want to make or whatever. Goofy, very goofy.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that joke, I'll be honest. I thought it was it felt like a very weak like trait to just give to just give Toni Collette, which is like also frustrating because it's like that scene at the end of the nightmare he has about her. Yeah. Great performance. I wish that was how her character acted the whole film.
Yeah, she brings a like sinister energy there that's like we don't really see from her prior.
Which is like such a shame because a character like that like is actually pretty sinister. Like a bougie woman who kind of projects this air of frivolousness until something is seen as possibly a threat to her status, and then suddenly it's like she is like a demon.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, a really good portrayal of that I wish was more kind of fleshed out. The movie's it's a little too unserious, I think. It's a little too kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall. And that's
Yeah.
kind of where it struggles with, like, the tone.
And like I was saying, it really does feel like a big problem the film had is that it was trying to like do these two big satire tracks, but it could never quite bring them together at the same time. Even this like dumb big racist idiot like Trump parody is like he's like all aboard on like hating and being disgusted by doubles, and it's like my thought that is like, oh, the direction is going to be he's going to find out there's two of them and be like, oh, we just won't tell anyone. Now I have two of these guys, so like I can use like them to do more things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's like so obvious that it's like he doesn't give a shit about anything. Like he just gives a shit about making money. Like that's the character. That's if you're going to do a Trump, that's Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. It, you know, it makes sense. It's, and I mean, that's another place that the movie, like, kind of struggles, is that there's just, like, that motivation is, you know, what kind of art can you make about, like, fascist capitalist motivations that, like, makes their intentions seem at all, kind of, like, interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, fascist ideology and imagination is really it's not very strong. They don't have very much imagination. And so there's, I don't know, that like this kind of like incoherent portrayal of their beliefs, and the incoherence of like their feelings about sauce, and how that kind of is like a parody of how in real life they're obsessed with like architecture in this really shallow way, and shit like that. I don't know. It provides kind of like a weak backbone to the movie, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way to put it, is that it's just it just doesn't quite land in making them absurd enough or ironically evil enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I guess the closest you could say is like the thing with the one woman getting killed by the ice collapsing and that becoming like a scare thing about them being the like, oh, like this death of this poor white woman, like that's real. But that thorough line doesn't even, but like it doesn't feel like the thorough line there ever really sticks, you know?
Yeah. It's frustrating.
Yeah. I guess that's it. It's like, yeah, it's that ultimately it's like a fun film. It's great seeing Robert Pattinson be Robert Pattinson. But I don't know, it's just that gap between what it could be and what it is. Baru, what do you think this movie is better than?
Well, in the grand scheme of films, where, you know, you kind of hit copy paste on a whole person, it's a concept that's been explored before. I would say that in that arena, Mickey 17 is a much better movie than, I guess I'm gonna say Avatar: The Way of Water, but really either Avatar movie.
Just Avatar.
Yeah.
The whole series. Avatar 1, Avatar 2, Avatar the video game, Avatar the theme park.
When we talk about
expansion,
like fascism and fascist idea, like the Avatar fandom feels very fascist to me. Like, you're not allowed to have these valid critiques of these movies. They just kind of shout like stupid fucking racist taglines from the movie at you when you complain about it. It's a racist fucking franchise. It's enormously fucking racist.
I just wanna say for the folks at home, I just keep getting just like comedy levels of just cutting in and out of Baru's dialogue of just like fascist fucking racist cunts. It's just like literally just like coming in as you're just like yelling a specific phrase and then cutting back out. So I was like, okay, well she's still ranting about Avatar, so I guess that's fine.
Oopsie. Avatar, like, it's not good. The fans are fucking annoying. Everybody who defends Avatar is fucking annoying and a fucking idiot. A completely useless moron. The movies have no actual entertainment value. I was clawing at the fucking walls wanting to get out of the theater when I was watching the second one. Because it was so... Do you
remember...
Oh, sorry,
how
go ahead.
Fucking obvious. I was gonna say how fucking obvious it was when there was just the forced ad campaign for that movie. Mm-hmm. Like people being like, actually, Avatar 1's really good, and it's like a beloved film. Right as Avatar 2 is coming out, and I was like, come on. I was like, so like, are you guys like? I haven't seen anybody talk about Avatar literally until Avatar 2 came out.
Yeah, it was gone from the culture. It disappeared because it was shit.
It was like a joke. Like people would bring it up being like, hey, remember that movie that like came out and that like he's like really insistent he's going to make like 10 sequels, but it's been like a decade and nothing's come out and no one cares because the movie completely dropped out from the consciousness. But like people are like, no, it's actually like a great film. Like it's beloved. And I was like, for who? I've never heard anyone, but I've been around so many dumb guys, and I had never heard even a dumb guy be like, "Oh man, I want to rewatch Avatar." Like, no one fucking thinks about Avatar. Who the fuck is who? Where did this fandom come from? Absolute fucking astroturfed bullshit. Fuck that movie.
Yeah.
So that was a good choice. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Fuck Avatar. But. How do you feel? What do you feel is a Mickey 17 is better than?
I think it was better than, if we're talking about a sci-fi spec film about disposable labor that includes clones. I think I liked this better than Moon.
Yeah.
The 2009 movie of Sam Rockwell, and I remember liking it well enough in theaters, but it's kind of one of those films where whenever I've thought about rewatching it, I'm just like, do I want to rewatch it? And so I do think this movie clears that.
Yes. I would agree there.
I could see myself revisiting it entirely on the strength of Robert Pattinson's deliveries.
Yeah.
But
definitely. I mean,
it's not bad, but it's like, you know, it's the lesser of the two mid.
Yeah, I think Moon has like less to revisit it for. 'Cause I mean, if you already know what's gonna happen, it doesn't really have this like stylistic punch to it that is I guess gonna keep you coming back. I don't know. It's it's got fucking Kevin Spacey in it, so it's like that's a knock against it.
Oh, I forgot that he's like the computer voice, isn't he?
Yeah, it's Kevin Spacey's the computer.
I forgot about that. He's like a jump scare. Do you know what was the craziest jump scare I've ever had with Kevin Spacey? The Austin Powers movie.
Oh God, that's right.
He's in, I think, Goldmember. There's like a joke where it's like the Austin Powers movie within the movie, and it's Tom Cruise playing him, and then it just goes, "Oh, Powers," and it cuts over, and it's just Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
That guy was everywhere.
Goddamn.
What happened? What happened to him? No.
Yeah, why isn't he in movies anymore? Yeah, shout out to Duncan Jones, director of Moon, director of Warcraft. We love Warcraft here.
It is really funny being like, yeah, this is Duncan Jones's like directorial debut, and I was like, oh, what else did he did? And I open it and I'm like, looked bad. Didn't know there was a follow up to Moon. Don't know who was asking for that.
Nobody.
Apparently he thought it was worth revisiting. Yeah, that's that. But Baru, what do you think is better than Mickey 17?
So, I think that we find ourselves in a very interesting moment. We find ourselves in Trump era 2.0. And a lot of films such as Mickey 17 are going to do their best to kind of talk about it, lambast it, satirize it. I think that there are so far very few successes in terms of understanding kind of the place that we are right now. One of those rare successes is, in fact, a movie that was made long before the Trump era. In fact, it was made in 2008? No, 2006 even. Directed by Richard Kelly. I think that Southland Tales is a bit of a better movie than Mickey 17.
See, I thought you were going to bring up Idiocracy. That's fine. But Tish, no. Yeah, no, Southland Tales. I think it makes sense because Southland Tales was a film commenting on the Bush administration by projecting it outwards, and the stupid ass era we're in right now is the Bush administration's crimes against humanity finally landing on all of us.
Yeah, it's a natural progression in stupidity from Reagan to Bush to now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where...
First as tragedy, then as farce, then as a third secret thing called farcity. They're calling it farcity. It's funny, but it really sucks.
Yeah, Southland Tales is a completely insane film. It has the line, "Let me suck your dick right now or I'm gonna kill myself." It has some amazing performances from Dwayne Johnson, an uncharacteristically good performance from Justin Timberlake, who does a Killer's AMV in the middle of the movie.
God. It's an insane film. It's like a film that by all accounts shouldn't be.
Yeah. It shouldn't exist. It makes no sense. It's, it's incoherent. But somehow that makes it, like, a functional response in a way. I don't know, there's a sort of catharsis I feel watching Southland Tales that I don't really get from, a lot of other places.
No, I think that all makes sense.
And it's got the craziest cast of any movie ever. It's got Wallace Shawn, it's got Will Sasso, it's got Janine Garofalo, Amy Poehler. Amy Poehler as, like, a stoner Black Panther type.
I was gonna say, every time I, think about all the people in that movie, I'm like, that's, because there's so many, and you forget so many of them. Because the main character's, Dwayne, right?
Yeah, The Rock is basically the main character.
Yeah. God, what an insanely good fucking movie.
Yeah. Crazy. Check out Southland Tales. It's like, it takes Bong Joon-ho's, weirdness that he tries to insert in his English films and extends it out and, turns it up to an 11.
Yeah, no, it fully understood that we were living in an era of, overstimulation, and it made the embodiment of overstimulation into a film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Banger fucking movie. My better than feels a little bit cheating because it's also a movie that takes place on a spaceship over the course of a massive mission that is being done by exploited labor force and features Robert Pattinson getting fucked up and naked a bunch. I'm, of course, talking about High Life by Claire Denis.
High Life!
I will say, a lot of times during Mickey 17, I was like, this is, like, funny. I like it. I'm making me laugh. But I just would keep thinking about it. It's like, man, High Life really kind of, like, did this. like, better.
High Life is
even down to them not being allowed to fuck.
Yeah. High Life is a much more nutritious film than Mickey 17.
Which Mickey 17 wasn't even bold enough to have the cum room.
Yeah, why wasn't there a cum room in Mickey 17?
It feels like such a missing, like, because so much of like the modern fascist movement is just like jerking itself off.
Right.
And like obsessed with jerking off.
Yeah, they're gooning. They're gooning hard over there.
They're gooning, they're edging, they're fapping.
They're all the ghosts of the goon.
Yeah, they're cooming.
Ew. I wish they wouldn't.
But yeah, I've been thinking about revisiting it. Doesn't help that we just watched a Claire Denis film for our Patreons.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of reminded me of like, oh, I should rewatch High Life. It's been a minute.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good movie. I love that one. What a great pick. Well, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of generally my thoughts there. I suppose on expendability and labor, where we find ourselves at this present moment.
Oh, speaking of that, reminds me. Your bills have been like really overdue.
Oh, damn.
Like the last like 5, 6, 20 sessions, just like check keeps bouncing. And like we're patient here, but like how patient can you really be?
Oh, yeah, I know. Last time you talked about your cousin and how he, has a baseball bat and how he's been kind of circling around my house at all hours of the night, kind of making eye contact.
Well, he just wants to make sure that that like that my money is safe.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, do you know of any job leads in Venezuela?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, great. Yeah. So, all right. Hey, asked and answered. Situation handled. That's your debt handled.
Oh, I'm not going there. I will warn you though. It's a little. Have you seen the movie The Expendables 2?
No, I can't say I have.
Okay. Well, you're Expendables too.